Oh, wait. 3.0 on the agenda, I'm gonna need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. 4.0, public comment, we have none. 5.0, consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, Scott, second.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion, questions on that?
Just a quick question, Tyler Anderson, the same Tyler Anderson that,
So,
good to have him back.
That was a good question. I had
Yeah.
the same one.
Yeah.
let me see, that's Spanish teacher too. All right, those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Those opposed, nay. And I see we got all of our coaches and supervisors listed there too. All right, 6.0, communication reports. Got some introductions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
So we have some visitors to McRae tonight. I'll let them introduce themselves, but they're from Countryside Public Health. They're going to share some of the things that they do here at our school. They've got a short presentation, and you can ask them questions as well. So you are up.
Oh, perfect. My name is Liz Auk. I'm the administrator for Countryside Public Health, and Countryside Public Health is Big Stone, Chippewa, Lac Pearl, Swift, and Yellow Medicine counties. And so we offer different public health services. Today, we want to touch base on the Minnesota Student Survey, and so we'll very brief presentation. We are not going to keep you here all evening. We know you have lives beyond this, and so I will have you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kiona Hermanson, the Community Health Strategist with Countryside Public Health. And we are here to talk about the Minnesota Student Survey. I just want to share a few key data points and then open it up for discussion around just some things that we're hoping to gain as the new Minnesota Student Survey will be rolled out in the upcoming school year. Just some history, it's the Minnesota Student Survey is the longest running survey in the nation. There is a piece that we use within public health. There's data that we get from those surveys that help us with funding sources, and then data pieces for evidence-based approaches as well. I heard somebody's monitored. Okay, Monday night test.
no,
Oh, okay. And so that just gives a little bit of a background. And so as the MDE is thinking of rolling it out, they're really hoping to hear from schools on how can they improve it, what can they do for higher participation in it, and then what is the school hoping to use with that data as well, because public health uses it, there are some schools who use it, and then there's some who take it and they just don't know what to do with it. We wanted to share just a quick synopsis of McRae's history of using it. So as you can see, the data that on MDE, that they go back to 2013, and I think from beyond that, there was questions that had changed. So there is a formula in which you ask the questions so that the data can be compared on an evidence base moving forward. So in 2013, you guys had 5th grade only participate, and as you can see back in 2022, all grades participated. So that's 5th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, and 11th grade. And then it'll show you, this chart shows that 100% in 2022 of 5th graders completed that. And so the green is the unsurveyed and the blue is the survey. So there was a difference in either class sizes changed from the fall when the school class sizes were reported versus when the survey rolled out in the spring semesters. Either class sizes changed, some students were absent, or perhaps a parent had asked them to not participate in the survey. This is the piece, so we're going around actually to all of the schools within our 5 county service area to show this piece. So you can see across all of the schools, so it's 9 public schools, the blue is the surveys that are completed, and then this is the number of unsurveyed. So we have quite a few schools who aren't participating, which is our hope to increase those who complete it versus those who don't in the upcoming school year.
I just would chime in. I mean, I think
I would call it a little bit of a road trip as we travel the 9 schools in the 5 counties. Increasing that number really does give us a window into what our kids are thinking and feeling, and I'm definitely speaking to the choir here because McCray, I've been at my job 24 years, so McCray has always been a school that has participated in the student survey and been really involved in that. And definitely some of the data points that came out from McCray, I can share with 11th grade young women and how they felt about their mental well-being and how they judged themselves. Some of the answers with 11th grade girls was very triggering and alarming to see. And it was a data that really made us at Public Health be concerned about all 11th grade girls. Like, we were concerned then. So McCray, that data for you to know had us at Public Health going, how do we address mental health with teen girls that are on social media, that are using filters on social media? How are they communicating to each other? What kind of bullying is happening at an 11th grade level? What kind of cliques are going on? And so I share that one because I never used your school in a conversation. I never said, McCray's 11th grade girls, but I can tell you in this room that data point was very alarming for us and very worrisome back in 2022. And we really did do a lot of work in that arena to try to address things with young women. So I give that as kind of an example of your data does matter, and we do use it, even if it isn't just in this particular school. We take that broader than that. So thank you.
Yeah. And then this graph shows in Chippewa County the number of those who completed the survey versus those who were unsurveyed. So there's
We have a partner school that
2
doesn't.
school districts in Chippewa.
There's one school that doesn't do it. And Montevideo is very open that they don't fill it out, and our hope is really to work with them and see if we can get them to, by golly, I'll be glad if maybe I can get a grade. So, and everyone has reasons and things like that. So we'll hope to maybe work with them and see where we're at. They've been very open about that, so it's not saying anything in a negative way. They've just chosen not to do it.
The ways in which, as we talked about, we use that data piece, and so I'll share very bluntly because as Liz is talking about this one piece of data, there is a question around seriously considered or attempting suicide, and in the females within 11th grade, 41% of students within McCray School District identified that they had in the year of 2022. Now think of the trauma that they had experienced with the pandemic just being done. There's the social media, the just different changes within the school. But with that data, we were able to write a grant or an opportunity to apply for AmeriCorps, and we used that position to then go out and make a difference in, Carly, it's her name, and she worked with the schools to offer suicide prevention plans with the schools within our 9 counties. She worked to collaborate with all of the mental health and mental well-being, so that this one here, actively reducing the stigma around mental health while bridging the gaps of resources. She connected all of those committees together and then provided those committees with what updates with what other committees were working on, and then with going within the schools and working with them as well. So she spent an entire year just dedicated strictly to mental health to increase that awareness. And what can we do to change that so that hopefully we'll see a change in that number of that data piece across all of our counties in the upcoming student survey. We also have used that data. SHIP is a really big component that uses that, and so I'm sure you guys have heard of Ashley Woodman, yeah, and so she has a highlight source and it's out on our website, but it outlines just all of the different pieces in which Countryside has been integrated within your school district. So from increasing access to fresh fruit and vegetables, and that's that local farm to table for those students. And then I believe you guys have a garden, a community garden, and the school garden as well. Diversify the evidence-based programs offered within the schools through a school health team approach. So the MDH actually just sent out a communication that over 50% of the schools within the state don't have access to a school health nurse. And so we have diversified offering different evidence-based approaches and programs within the class sizes, but also being there as a resource when needed from those schools as well. There are the partner and promotion of the safe routes to school, which I know you guys participate in that in the fall and the springtime as well. And then the compliance checks across all 5 counties, so we get that data of how many students are using, so that's vaping, alcohol, tobacco. And then now with the new cannabis, I think we'll see that data changing too, and that will be a question that's in there.
I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's just, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Another thing we'll be dealing with.
And then there's also just an increase in evidence-based approaches across our scope. So there's evidence home visiting programs. We use the ACEs scores because those questions are on there as well. So we use the ACEs scores. There is, forgive me, Liz, can you help me?
Well, I know we do the Mind Up curriculum, which
Yeah.
is
Social
evidence-based.
emotional
Yeah.
connections.
Positive action is another curriculum that is related to healthy decision making, and that's a longitudinal study that we'll do at 3rd grade. Then we'll come back and do it at 5th grade. So you're gonna get the kids at 3rd grade, then we're gonna hit those same children at 5th grade, and then we're gonna come back and do those children at 7th grade, hoping that getting them that 3 times with that curriculum and the same, not teacher, but another person that's a support. So you have the teacher, you have the principal, you have the coach, and then we've come in now as another source to kind of be that evidence base on positive action. So what a lot of this is done when you have that survey is allows you to find opportunities for grants or for funding. It also, I'm gonna be straight up, you talk to commissioners, and commissioners need to know what kids are doing, and if they don't understand what kids are doing, then they don't understand what public health needs to do, and they're gonna flat out say to me, Liz, I don't get it, or I don't believe that's happening. You know, I don't believe those things are going on at schools. And so this stuff is invaluable in a lot of different ways that we use it.
So as we close, our goal is that we are here to share a little bit about the data and kind of how we use it, but also ask to hear how are you guys using it? What provokes you guys to continue to do it year after year? What value do you guys see in it? Because that's important for us to recognize as well. And then as this upcoming year rolls out, is there any piece that we can do differently as public health? Is that coming back to you guys with a 1-pager snapshot of your data? So you have easy access to that for funding opportunities and then sharing those pieces. Are there other pieces that perhaps that you've thought of that we haven't? And how can we collaborate and partner moving forward? I think for us as a community health strategist, so I look at the data of our communities across all 5 counties, and it's very alarming to see that we don't have snapshots of some of those schools, and that's the only way that we can get those voices from those students. To really, how can we impact the health of them, because they are our future. And so by not participating, it only hurts our communities as well as those students. And so we applaud you guys for doing that, and we appreciate that. But we also want to ask, is there a way that we can also improve as well?
Anything come to mind as we've kind of shared today?
I guess I'm wondering, are there any ways that you're partnering with our local Children's Mental Health Collaborative, PAC for Families?
Yes.
And how is that, how are we all sweeping the same direction and working together?
We do attend PAC for Families. PAC for Families also has a survey that they use, and we've been in conversations with them, but we also sit with them on the same collaborative, the areas that we sit on are early childhood. They also have a mental health coalition that we partner with, and so we work with them on certain projects or certain things that they want to work on. So yes, though that is one coalition, is that the one specific, so we do work with them on a regular basis and partner with, with Raymond and Candy Ojai. So we also do some work with Candy Ojai because we are so close. So what are their things that they're educating or they're doing, or what conversations are they having? So we do talk to their public health staff as well, so that we kind of stay on the same page with the 2 schools, because Raymond is considered Candido High, so we do have those, connections and conversations. The one thing I thought of, and I would ask you, I worry that some schools maybe don't fill it out because it's like, would a one-page executive summary, would it benefit us coming back? Obviously, you guys are participating, but would it be helpful if someone came back and said, here's the main themes that we saw? Here's some of the main things that came out of, your school, and have kind of an executive summary. It may help you with strategic planning. It may help you as you guys are looking at your school district, where you're at, what's going on with your kids. It would help you with maybe with funding. And, is there a small grant? Is there something Pack for Families is doing? So even knowing that, and knowing the partners that you guys interact with when you do your day-to-day work, you might go, man, the Kiwanis Club or the Lions Club, or we should be looking at something. We could be that partner as well. The last thing I'd share, just for the Minnesota Student Survey, we are actively in your school doing. We have a primary prevention school health team, and they are in your school doing that positive action curriculum, and they're doing Mind Up, they're doing hand washing, bullying. There's like 11 different topics, and you have been very welcoming to let us in as well to do all of those topics. It is alarming if you have a school district under 1,000, you do not need a school nurse. I'm not here to throw the bandwagon that everybody has to have a school nurse, but to just know that you don't have to have one was a very big thing for commissioners to want another resource. Our commissioners, your commissioners, wanting that resource of another public health person coming in, doing education, teaching, and just another voice to help. And so, I thank the commissioners for seeing the value in that, knowing that there's a lot of our schools that are under 1,000 and do not have that school nurse present. So if you have anything to share, we're not here to talk at you.
I've got a couple of questions. So the survey was in 2022. Like, how quickly do you get all the results and kind of put all the data together?
Yeah, so their MDE is changing the process of it, because I think that was a piece of why some schools were deterring that and participating in it. And so they're looking at a faster turnaround of even just that snapshot. I will share, so I have like the 2022 results. It's not a very friendly format. And so for us to go through, it's not like an Excel, we're filtering it and putting it into this and making pretty graphs. We'd have to take the PDF and then put that data into other pieces. And we use that for our CHA, which is updated every 5 years. So our upcoming community health assessment is what the CHA stands for. Will be updated in the spring. And so we'll take that new data and put that in there. The state is going to roll out a new process, and kind of here's what the voices had shared from public health, as well as the schools and communities and other partners who use this data, and what they were hoping to gain from that. And so the hope is that turnaround will be a lot faster. I want to say there has been conversations, and I can't promise this is what's going to happen now, but conversations of within a week, the school is getting all of that data at the very latest.
Yeah, because like what you had shared, it seems like really impactful data, from our 11th graders in 2022.
Yeah.
Like, is that on the individual school level, like not obviously individually identified, but within McRae, is that shared with the district then?
Yeah.
You guys do that?
And all of that data is shared back. And you can go onto MDE's website and you can look at the entire school. And they also have a really friendly, it's a capture of the entire state that shows kind of this is what the youth voices are sharing.
Sure.
And so that was another piece of this road trip that Liz and I were taking, is so that we get that voice of rural perspective, because otherwise we're having that metropolitan voice of the schools, and what does that look like? And that's what's being used then at the state level, that data, to then make decisions moving forward. So without participating, we're missing those voices. And that is crucial for us.
I'm so glad you remembered that, because I think that's probably one of my big plugs. I'm so glad you remembered it. If we only get Metro data, then we only have Metro data to go on. And for Chippewa County, quite frankly, there's 2 schools and we're just sharing McRae. And so I often feel like we've had to be really careful, because it's only your school that we're sharing. So when we do Chippewa County, I've always thought we need to be very mindful of that because you have a whole nother school that isn't participating. And so, you know, when you get as small as we are, that can get a little sensitive. And so that's why I tell you, we've been a little bit careful. MDE puts it out, your teachers or I don't know, your faculty have to administer the survey, just to let you know. It takes a good chunk of time. The turnaround, they want to be faster. I don't know what faster means at the state level. We all know that. Yeah, see, so we all know that. The third thing they did, which I think might help me sell it with some of my communities, is they're going to allow you to have some voice in the questions. And that has been a problem with some community members that not liking the questions. I want this question out and I don't want this question in here and I don't want this question in here. And I think having that change this year, maybe a couple of my tough schools that have really said, these questions are not going out, maybe knowing they have the ability to take those 4 or 5 out that are really, really bothering, you know, members may help them move forward. Because then I think we get a clearer picture to talk to the legislature about our youth. I mean, I keep looking out the window behind you guys, we're in a cornfield. I mean, the corn and the train, I mean, we need to have our voice heard and not the metro. And I mean that as a compliment. I mean, the corn's not tasseling yet, but I mean, we need to be hearing us. And I don't need to be at the legislature talking about them and what their issues are. We need to talk about what ours are and help our youth. Any other questions or, I mean, we didn't answer you right on, but.
Well, that's all right, I can give more insight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your time. I know you guys are busy and it takes a lot of time. And so I love the remodel. I hadn't been back since the remodel. It looks really, really, really nice, you guys. Really nice here. So, thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for doing it. And I hope you're okay. I am gonna be like on my road trip saying, McCray does it. They won't. You do know, if you don't know me, I will be doing it. So you will be used in a positive light, but they do it. And so if you get grabbed by a school member, oh, I had to hear Liz say how much McCray does it. So
Now get Monty to do it.
I know that is going to be, that is like, we have worked really hard on that. I've done individual meetings over the years and it's just, it's the top sell.
Well, but I mean, it's really not beneficial for them if they don't participate, because like you said, then all the metro data is applied to them.
Yeah, my hope is that, you know, and I'm being very, you know, I think people need to do what they need to do. So my hope is that their ability to pull some questions that have really agitated them will maybe really help that. And you know, there's genuinely, we have to follow and hear our constituents and parents. And if there's parents that are really agitated by certain questions, you know, we need to hear that, but don't just stop doing it all together. Because then we lose that whole voice. You're right, we lose the whole voice. Yeah, so. Thank you, and thanks for getting everything ready for us.
Happy night.
Thank you.
Do you know how to get out?
Yeah.
You're good? Okay. Just making sure.
Okay, let's see, we're on the communication reports. Jesse Westrock.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So when I talked to Josh last week, like, hey, it would be good for me to do a report, you know, I was hoping it would be a little more optimistic about what I've been going, what I've been up to. So in April, I mentioned I had 3 big projects where we kind of had wrapped up. Website, switch over from LCTN to the SWWC, and then copiers. We kind of finished up contracts and everything on that. With 2 of them being targeted as July 1 cutting over, the website went flawlessly. If you haven't checked it out, I haven't gotten any bad reviews. I'm not sure they're going to tell me if they did. But that went off perfect. I think it looks really nice. I think it turned out really well. On my report, I wrote, you know, the wide area network, the internet. We had some rough patches, but we seem to be working at close to full speed. Oh, we'll say at 5:45 today, I had to call SWWC and say, hey, we got to put a pin in this. I got to go to the board meeting because we're still fighting through some stuff. And truthfully, it's the type of stuff, those 2 are here all day. They're not really seeing what it is, but it's stuff that comes September 3rd when the students are here. and the staff are all here, that it's gonna be very obvious, oh no, something's not built right, so. You know, it's kind of a pain now to go through it, be spending all of my summer messing with that stuff instead of doing other things, getting prepared for the students to come back, but it's gonna be good once it's the parts that have been working well, I think have been working pretty well, it's just getting the rest of them together. Copiers, we're gonna have everything in August 1 is when they're coming, and we did I think I had mentioned management isn't the right word for the program, but kind of it helps everything control better and keeps a better eye on things. And what I did, we had a couple copiers that are only used by a couple people. At the last couple weeks of school, I got it up and running on a couple copiers, had those staff working. They were absolutely very, I don't know about this. Biggest thing being, you gotta punch in a pin for the copies to go instead of just click fire and it'll be there. But by the end of that couple of weeks, by the last day of school, they're like, you know what? This is actually gonna be really nice. I know my stuff's gonna be that's the biggest one. I know my stuff's gonna be there. It's not, oh hey, somebody grabbed it on the way by with their stuff, and so I think that's gonna be a really nice positive change, I think, for the staff as we go into the new year. But kind of to jump ahead a little bit, there's not much else to add on my next two things, other than the camera part. It was kind of a sight to see me walking around with Judd on speakerphone, lugging a ladder, screwdrivers in my pockets. Going, all right, we gotta move this how much you want to move this camera, just to try to get everything covered in the building. Because there were a couple spots we kind of discovered over the last couple of years. And the kids find the hiding spots. They do. So they found a couple, and we got those pretty well buttoned up. To kind of then jump to one thing that, when Josh started at he and I, one of the things I kind of mentioned early on was when I started here, I wanted to kind of do some teacher support integrationist stuff, and with the work we had to do at the start, when I kind of started making sure things were where they needed to be, and building project, COVID, all of that, a lot of that ended up being pushed to the wayside, which it shouldn't have, but there's only so much food in a day, was my excuse to myself. But what we had talked about was starting to figure out how to do that. And I think I'm really excited I'm starting to work on what it's going to look like, doing some just after school PD for the staff. Start of the year, it's really simple things like how to make a calendar event on Google Calendar, or schedule emails, things like that. But kind of as the year goes on, maybe mixing in some AI stuff to help them, to kind of show them ways it can help make their lives easier. But then I want to kind of hand the reins off as it gets deeper into the year of, what is something you're using that you really want to share, that you want to share with the staff, that the staff are going to be able to help or get help from. So I want to have a good scheduled plan on that. This is what the first few are going to look like. How am I going to get ideas from staff? How am I going to get their wants? So I'm using some time here this summer to get that put together as well, so it's ready to go when the teachers are here. But I think the biggest thing that I wanted to touch on is, and it's my last one on there, is I just wanted to give a shout out to Katie Hess and Jen Lossner, I believe they're now called media assistants, is their titles now, and just all the work they do to help me, but most importantly to help the staff and the kids to make sure this place runs well. They've taken on more than I think they necessarily even intended. I mean, Katie started as the computer lab when we were East and West when she started. Jen intended to be kind of my tech right hand person, but has taken on more and more library stuff. and Katie's kind of taken on more of the, in a lot of ways, she's, in some ways, I joke that she's the elementary tech coordinator. Because she's the first course person that they see, because she's right there in the elementary. She's easy for them to catch, you know. It's, whereas I'm down on this end, so I'm not quite always in there as often, but they're always ready to learn, they're always ready to help. Whether it's kids, staff, anybody, they're fantastic to have. I appreciate working with both of them, so I just wanted to give them a little shout out here while they're on break for the summer before they come back, hit the ground running in August. So what questions does anybody have for me? Thank you.
Okay, Jim Trulock is not here, but his report basically, we approved those coaches and supervisors. And the varsity practice will begin on August 12th for tennis and boys girls cross country, and then junior high football and volleyball on the 19th. It's coming up pretty quick. So, anybody have comments about?
Yeah, Jim just wanted me to thank you all for approving the coaches in the fall. He's been working very, very hard. I think he has 2 open positions right now, which is, I mean, he's frustrated with that, but that's spectacular. To have all of those coaches filled and the amount of volunteers we have from the community that are helping out too. So Jim wanted me to thank all of you for your input on that. Thank you.
Great. Josh, you're next.
Sure. Well, good evening to all. I hope you each had an enjoyable 4th of July weekend. And now we're back here, and this is a busy time of year. As I was talking to Debbie as we were walking in, it's a tough Monday to come back and have, you know, paperwork and all kinds of legal stuff to deal with that Debbie has dealt with. But I hope you all had a very good weekend. We're preparing for back to school workshop for 2024 fall open houses. I'm working with the office staff to get a lot of the forms and things like that moms and dads and guardians need to fill out, get that in their hands electronically during the summer months. Not the expectation that everybody does it right now, but it certainly will save some lines in the fall when we have our open house. Great job to Jesse and his team with the pieces of technology they did with the web page. You know, it's an all of a sudden flip a switch and now it goes from old website to new website, but the amount of stuff that they did over the course of the year, you know, with, okay, it could look like this, it could look like that. Do we want to have the tabs on the left? Do we want to have tabs on the top? Where do you want to have this? Should we go with mostly blue? Should we go with mostly green? You know, there was a ton of homework that was done, and many templates that they brought to Kim and I to look at. So very well organized and very well developed. So thank you, Jesse, to your group for that. The hope is for that is not just to clean it up, but also just to make things more accessible to our community. You know, if you go to a website, you can tell if you go to a 10-year-old website, it's difficult to find things, and human nature says just stop and just, you know, move on, find somewhere else to go or whatever. And we don't want to ever have you know, somebody move into our community and think, oh, I can't find how to enroll at McRae. Oh, I can't find an activity schedule. Oh, I can't do that. And then think less of us because of that, or choose another district because of that. So, you know, it wasn't just to clean up the web page, even though it is very clean. Looks nice, it looks modern, but also to just making sure that we have so clean communication with our families and our constituents. Project update. If you haven't been out there, there still continues to be a lot of soil that's moving around. Right now, though, instead of being topsoil that's being moved around, there's a lot of sand and gravel. Right now, they have it up to the track, and the football field is at kind of a level right now, and now they'll begin to prep that for the turf itself. So the track and field sub base is finishing right now. The bleacher assembly that has been moved from Maynard over here. I would say probably 70% of this has been put together, but it doesn't look like that because the seating portions have not been set up yet. So it still looks like, you know, kind of a tinker toy setup from the 1970s or so. What else do we have? Concrete is ongoing. It's kind of a fun game to go out there and think, okay, what is this square going to be used for? What is this round thing going to be used for? Because the shapes are there for the concrete, but you know, either the asphalt or the grass or whatever hasn't been put into those open areas. A lot of underground electrical work is being done right now, last week and then into this week. And if you go out there, you can see 4 brand new light poles. And it's surprising to think that you look at the top and they're so small compared to what, you know, the lights of the past look like. But I promise it'll be like playing during daylight when they get that all completed. Hiring update, by the day, we're getting closer and closer to having all of our teaching positions filled. And I think as of today, we might have 100% of our teaching positions filled, which is a great thing. Preparing for Todd Bertram. Todd Bertram has accepted our elementary principal position, and he and his family have been traveling for the last couple of weeks, celebrating an anniversary. But he will be joining us very soon, and Judd and I have been working with that transition. What is that going to look like? So that is successful for him. The ag plot. Our community has been very, very generous in the last many years with planting a crop to the north and to the west of our property. And as you know, it was a difficult spring to get into the field regardless of what you were planting. It was corn or sugar beets or soybeans or whatever it might be. We missed the window to get corn planted in there. And so therefore Ben Johnson, our FFA, one of our FFA leaders, has been brainstorming with what else could be planted out there. I did notice it has been tilled. I don't know if they have finalized what they're going to put in there, but a couple options have been, and I just learned of this within the last probably 2 weeks or so, but teff. And teff is an ancient grain that I believe that you could plant, and after like 35 or 40 days, you could harvest it before it grows ahead. And so you could bale that, and you could sell that as a cattle feed, and then it might still have enough time to grow and then actually head out at the end of the fall, and then cut it again and to bale it. Other conversations were to plant, you know, oats or other grains, and simply just get what you can and chop it and sell that as grain, just as a fundraiser for our FFA. But that still is up in the works. But as you know, it's been a difficult spring to get into fields. So that is the update I have. Any questions that you folks might have for me? Thank you. All right, thank you.
6.2 committee, I don't know if we have any committee reports. 6.3 board discussion is the filing period for the school board. There's 3 of us.
Yes, and it's in your packet, just the notice. It's not a resolution or anything, but I just have to have Carmel sign it and just make sure we get it posted and put in the newspaper. So I've got Billy putting it in this for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the filing period is July 30th until August 13th. So our next board meeting is August 12th. So it'll be the next day that we'll have our deadline. Yeah. Yeah. And it has to be until 5 by the Secretary of State offices.
So who's up?
It is Scott,
Yeah.
Carmel, and Julie. And it costs $2 to file.
And has to be notarized, right? Notarized?
Yeah, yeah. I have to pull up the form yet, but I still have I was glad I remembered to grab the timeline to make sure I had
Today, yeah.
to make sure I had this. Like, whoa, we should have an election this. I gotta look that up again. So, yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what districts you guys are?
On 3.
I'm one.
And 6.
Thank you.
Okay, 7.1 business item. So I will need a motion to approve that fiscal year 2026 LTFM plan. And I'll make a motion. Second, anyone?
Second.
No? So, we'll do a little bit of a description of what's going on here.
Yeah, Debbie asked for a little explanation. So if I put out, I didn't print every single person these. So the first page is the revenue. Okay, first page is revenue. if you look on line 6, which is current year APU, that's adjusted pupil units, because LTFM is based on your building ages and the number of pupil units you have. So, that's the current APU estimates that I put in, and I only go for 3 years, so they just left it the same all the way across. And then the next thing is the average district building age, which is line 7. So our buildings are a lot younger now, based on that. So you can see under FY25, we're at .66629 of the $380. You get $380, that's just been increased by the legislature, so $380 per pupil unit, and then there's a whole formula with the building age.
Kim, is that K through 12 or preschool, or what do they consider?
It
Pupil
is,
units.
6A.
Oh, here it is, pre-K.
yeah, but some, I'm not positive, but some they use pre-K and some they don't, but
That's our pre-K number, that's,
yeah, yeah. And since some of this goes into pre-K, I'm guessing they use the pre-K, I could double check. So then we have our initial revenue there on line 10. Line 12 is debt service. That's the alternate facilities and health and safety bonds that were done back in 2013 to do the indoor air quality stuff. So that was before LTFM was a thing, so since they got rid of the health and safety, they just run it through LTFM now, so that's that. And you can see we have 2 more years of payments on that. Yeah, so that pulls down to line 19, and then line 20D, the new law revenue, that's our total revenue based on the building age, the pupil units, the 569,000 down to the bottom. Okay, everybody with me so far?
Yep.
Okay. So then the next page is a whole bunch of gobbledygook, actually, because when MDE does new funding sources or changes formulas for things, they almost always make hold harmless. So they use previous formulas, so that's why they have old formula revenue there above line 21. If you flip that page over.
it's this.
You gotta flip it, sorry, I did back to back. So flip it over, there you go.
What's this?
Yeah, but if you see over line 21, it's old formula, health and safety. So they always do all the calculations to see if McCray would benefit, if we would get more money under the old formula, we would get that versus the new formula. So that's what all of this is. Well, we benefit much more from the new formula, so that's the way that is calculated. Yeah, so then they throw in all the different variables and that, and there's really not a lot we can do about it. You know, it is what it is, kind of a thing. So then you get to the bottom and you can see our total amount, the debt service portion, they just break it out again. And then on the third page, like line 50 down through that, that's where they break it up into, they keep adding more equalization, so the state kicks in more of the money, and then aid and things like that. But that's constantly changing, fluctuating with how the state does things. So. But really, we have no control over that either, so it just is what it is. So then you can see we end up basically with $127,597 for spending. Okay. And then the last page is expenditures. And this is just MDE's way of forcing us to have a plan, to look ahead at things that might need to be repaired, so we're not caught off guard. So, upper left hand, finance code 347, 349. Everybody see where I am? Okay. 349, other hazardous material. That is where we've coded lead in water testing. Every 5 years, we have to test all of our pipes for lead in water. So I guesstimated it'll probably go up to 300 or 3,000 in 5 years, and then another 5 years, 3,500. IEA handles that for us, so it's a guess. Then the next one, environmental health and safety management, 352. That's IEA services to keep us in compliance with all the health and safety stuff we have to do, notifications on the website, things like that. What else? Then we don't have asbestos to deal with. There is some asbestos, but it's all encapsulated or whatever. So that's something if we ever need to spend some money, we could maybe look at, but most of it is taken care of. 363, fire safety. That's our fire monitoring. We have a monitoring service that watches all our fire alarms and stuff. If something goes out of whack, they call us. And then our inspections, have things inspected every year or every other year. And so that's all under that for fire safety stuff.
So then why is it a zero balance? Are we paying for that, or?
What do you mean zero balance?
The fire one?
The fire one, it's zeros all the way across.
That's indoor air quality too, basically.
Yeah, fire safety 363 is 9340, 9500, 95.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think
indoor air quality is zeros.
Oh, we were down
Finance
here,
code.
we were down there, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, though, okay, the next finance
down
code's
below.
363, that's for projects 100,000 or more. So there's special money and special hoops you have to jump through to get that approved, to be able to do it. Yep. Okay, so then it's zeros all the way down to category 5. And then we have the finance code 368, building envelope. So I put 100,000 in for not this summer, but next summer for maybe some tuck pointing, or we've got some bricks that have been damaged that maybe we can replace the brick, just as a possibility. No, not necessarily that we need to do it, but we hired ICS to come and evaluate everything to help us come up with a plan for 10 years, and that's one thing that they suggested. We may not need to, that's something we'll look at down the road a little bit. But I put that there to remember, to think about that. And then the next, mechanical systems, finance 380, that's our maintenance service contract and repairs to mechanical stuff. Well, we put some broken water pipe stuff in that too, and they've been doing quite a bit of research and helping us figure out why that happened and how to prevent it from happening again, kind of thing. So that's why that one's higher, and then we have to do a new maintenance service agreement, so I sort of estimated there to have some number placeholder in there. The professional services and salary 382, that was the ICS study on how to use LTFM money. Roof systems, the smaller numbers are repairs, just to have an idea. Sometimes branches blow up across, poke up holes in it, and then in the spring when the snow melts, we've got leaks. We have one section of roof that is not new yet. And so we talked about it for this summer, and Cal went up there and looked at it. Cal from West Central Roofing, they've done all of our roofs. He said it's in great shape yet, no need to do it yet, no longer we can let it last. So we'll just look at it again next winter, spring, and see, and go from there. And so some of the track and the football field, we bonded against our LTFM stuff. So some of this money will be used to make the payments back on that which this was the ideal time to do it because we don't have a lot of things to repair in the next 10 years or so. So they're rough numbers, but it's just to get us thinking mostly. And next year we'll do it again, and it could be all different.
This is every year you do?
Yeah. Yeah. But I just submitted. Yeah. So if something else comes up, or if you have more questions.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? If not, we have to do a roll call vote on this one.
Yep.
So, we'll do a roll call vote. Those in favor, or you vote how you want, I guess, on this particular resolution. Deb,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Carmel? Yes. And I'm a yes as well. I suppose I should have read that maybe, huh? I'll read it quick. Whereas to qualify for long-term facilities maintenance revenue, Minnesota statutes 2022, section 123B595, subsection 4 states a school district must annually adopt and approve a 10-year LTFM facilities plan by July 31st for commissioners' approval. School board member Julie also approved the resolution adoption. The motion was duly seconded by Steve William in the criminal time. And vote being thereon, but all members voted yes. And I voted against. Therefore, be it resolved that School Board of Independent School District 2180 approves and adopted the attached 10-year long-term facilities maintenance plan for fiscal year 26 on the 8th of July, 2024. Okay. Now, I will need a motion to move that November board meeting from Monday the 11th, which is Veterans Day, to Tuesday the 5th. If that works, I guess it works.
First of all, in our minutes here, it says Monday the 12th. 8.0.
To Tuesday.
I know, but I mean,
8.1 has
it has Monday, August 12th.
Well, if we don't approve it, it'd still be Monday, but it would be the 11th. Yeah, right.
Wait, what?
What?
But that's
Oh, no,
November.
August.
This is August you're looking at.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not rush November.
Right.
It's a month at a time.
I just happened to see it when I pulled up the days you can't have any meetings.
Yes.
And, and I thought, let's just look at it now.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So, if anybody wanted to make a motion on that? Ron, second? Was that Scott? Okay. I have no objection to that.
It's probably gonna be both those.
Anyway,
Yeah, so it
doesn't matter. Yeah. All right, those in favor say aye. Aye, those opposed nay. Great. And we are at the end here. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
March, second?
Go ahead, Scott.
Got it, all right. Those in favor, say aye. Aye, those opposed nay. Okay, we are adjourned.